In this video, I'd like to look at how we place the analysis on our MTPredictor trade setups. Here's an example of a chart where we have a VS buy setup at the bottom here, so I'd like to be able to place the analysis on this chart. So to do this, we click on the relevant MTPredictor script. A VS is part of our advanced trade scripts, so our advanced trade setup. So if I double click on this, we then have the menu come open here. So the first thing we want to do is select which pivot to do the analysis on, and I'll do a separate video that shows the different choices you can do here, but in this particular case I'm going to use pivot back. I'm going to go back and to this pivot, so it's one pivot back that starts at 0, so it's one pivot back, so I'm going to have the pivots back as 1, and I'm going to leave this as any because you can analyze highs or lows, but any is the most convenient option you have. And then this reversal bar offset, 0 means you're analyzing actually on the bar of the pivot. Now obviously you have to be on the correctly colored MTPredictor reversal bar. So can you see this blue buy bar here is one bar after the pivot low. Do you see that? It's one bar afterwards. So we have to do this to 1 in this particular case. You then tick the box that says Analyze Trade Setup. So I'm just going to tick the box here. And as you can see, the analysis is placed on your chart, including the position sizing, the number of contracts, shows your initial risk, shows your entry level, your stop level, and then your projected target as well. Moving down the options here, you have the ability to have a different account size. So you can change your value to the account size you have. You also have a different account currency, the option there to do as well if you wish. So if your account currency is different to the currency that your symbol is actually traded in, we have the option here to do a currency multiplier. So if you're, say, trading the DAX that's in euros, but your trading account is in dollars, you can then place a multiplier in there that then is the euro to US dollar currency conversion rate at that particular time, and that will then change the pip value to then bring your position sizing back into your account currency, and we have different options available there. The percentage risk is 2. Our default is 2, but you can change that to different values if you wish as well. The trade setup offset, we leave that as 1 and 1 because that's just one tick beyond the high, one tick beyond the low. You have an option here for your target mode. In other words, that is the level at which this risk reward is actually calculated. The default is the trade setup, so that then calculated at where our trade setup target would be, but you can actually do it to a R multiple as well. So if you're doing some advanced analysis, and for example you have a DP target on your chart, for example, and then you want to place that to there, you can then either use your R multiple or you can actually put a price in. So you can actually put an actual price, target price in there as well. Again, that's handy. Like I say, if you have a specific target like a DP target, you can put the price in there as well. But the normal default one will be the trade setup one. The trade setup right hand margin, this just moves everything across a bit. You can see it moves it across. Do you see how it's changing left and right? And this is your trade setup zones. You just leave them as a default as 10. So as you can see, it's quite easy to place your analysis on the chart. The main thing you'll do is when you've got your account size set in there, you won't need to change that. You won't need to change any of these lower ones. The only one you'll really do is just the pivot you're going to use, and then the pivots back or the reverse bar offset. So you can see it's very quick and easy to do. I'll just show you another quick example on perhaps the NQ, and this here, can you see I want to analyze a DP at this pivot high here. So I just want to do the trade setup, so double click on that. Now this particular case, because that's a few pivots back, what you can do is also do it of a specific pivot number. Okay, so to find out what the pivot number is, what I can do here is display pivot labels. So if I click this, it will then display the pivot labels, and can you see that this is bar or pivot 122, this is pivot 123, so this one will be pivot 124. So what you can do is then choose the pivot number here, and then in this box, which is the option, you can put in the exact pivot number. In this case it's pivot 124, and then do your analysis. So I'll just turn the pivots off so we know what pivot it is and do the analysis. As you can see here, nothing's actually happened. Nothing's happened because my reversal offset's at 1. So do you remember I said earlier in the video that the actual pivot, which is this point here, is 0. So offset 1 will be forward 1 bar. You can see this is not the correctly coloured reversal bar, so therefore no analysis has been placed on the chart. We actually need to calculate off this red bar here, which actually is 2 bars after the high. Do you see that? That's 0, that's 1, that's 2. So you have to change, in this particular case, the reversal bar offset to 2, and as you can see, it's placed the analysis on the chart for you there as well. Again, the trade target was our trade setup there, and as you can see, that was a very nice trade indeed. So as you can see, it's very easy to place the analysis on the chart. We have several options where you can actually use the actual pivot numbers, as I have done here, the actual pivot number. So you can place the pivot number on and actually do the absolute pivot number. That's very handy if you're want to do analysis on some trade setups that are a bit further back, or as we've seen in this particular example here, you can just use the last pivot if it has the last pivot or the pivots back. Then place your trade setup on, and it places the analysis for you on there as well. So it's very versatile and very quick and easy to place your MT Predictor analysis on your automatic trade setups.